My name is Mark, and I want to show you a way that I update my Outlook files. Now, I just put in some data here, so that this is nothing personal. I took just the information from the U.S. Congress. Since it is public information anyway, you can get it online. It will not invade anybody's privacy. So just want to let everybody know that. And I want to have, somewhat realistic information, even though a lot of the information is the same, like the telephone number. But I add this information. Now, one thing that I don't have, and maybe you might not address people in Congress this way, but you might address other people. So if I wanted to add like Mr. and Mrs. to everybody, I would have to go down and look at each name, like Diane, add Mrs., Bob. So I'd have to click on the name, go in here, open it up, and it could take a long time, especially if you have a slow computer like mine. But I go in here and I want to update the name, so I'd have to click on the first name and go in here and update the title to whatever it may be. Now, a lot of times we just use Miss or Mr. the MS because professionally we don't really preoccupy whether the person is married or not married. So what would I do? And I'm going to show you what I'll do. And in Access, I can easily update the majority of this information, and anything that's left over will also be easily updated, or more easily updated than doing it this method right here. So I'm going to show you how to update Outlook in Access. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the data. Now I have some options here. I'm going to click on external data up at the top, and I'm going to click on from file. So I can get data from Excel, an HTML document, a lot of different options here. Of course, sometimes the data has to be in a certain order. So make sure your data is cleaned up before you try to import it. But I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to, I can also connect to Dataverse, which connects me to other databases within the cloud. But here I'm going to click on another option, and I'm going to go down here. You have a ODBC database or Outlook. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Outlook. And here I have a couple of different options. So I could import the data, which could also be a good idea if you're worried about messing up your data in Outlook, because you could go through there and make a mass change. And then suddenly you're going to have to go back and go through a bunch of work to fix it again. So you could do this and manipulate your data, and then you could go back and upload it back into Outlook again. And after you've confirmed this in good shape, or you could stay constantly connected. Well, I could also, like if I have some Outlook data already in here, I could add it, I could append it to the current data, or what I can do is link to the data. Now, what I did in the previous video, I did more of this and I linked to the data and I explained a few steps there, but here I'm going to link to the data instead of importing it. Because if I import the data, I'm going to have to export the data. Here, if I link it, everything's going to be the same again. Now, I've already imported the data, so we don't have to do this. This step could take a few minutes. But once I click it, I will be given the option to select the database. So here I have one that's already set up, a folder in Outlook, which is Congress. So I would click on Congress, and I would go ahead and next, and then it would import it. But you have different options. You can also import your email too. But there's some things that you cannot change too. It will not allow you to change it. So I'm going to cancel this because I already have it here. So I have this folder, and you can see this icon here. This implies that it's connected to another data source, and you can manipulate it. Now, let's take a look at this data. So open it up, just like the image that you saw in Outlook. I have the title here, but I don't have to click open every one to click on the title. It's right here in front of me. So I could go in here and I could add the information to each title. And I could do it like that. But I also created a query that will help me add this. So I have a query that has first names, male and female first names, but I had to take out the names, such as Taylor, those types of names that could be male or female, because I didn't want to make a mistake. But now, if someone does have a name like that, it'll just be blank, and then I can do that on a person by person basis. But let's take a look at this database that I created here. And I'm just going to go over this quickly because I did this in the previous video. If you want to know more about it, you can see it in the previous video. But I have the names in the names database, and this is the one with the names and the title. So this has the data in it. And I'm going to add this data to the Congress 2 database, which has this information, but I only want to update the first name. Well, I only want to update the title, and it's connected to the first name. So it's connected to the first name, and I'm going to update the title so that each of those first names that are of a male's first name is going to be updated. So if I click on this query that I made, it's gonna say that I'm about to update it. And if I don't want to, of course, click no. I'm going to hit yes. And it tells me that I will not be able to change it, which I won't be able to change it easily, but I could go through there one by one and change it, which would take a long time, and I wouldn't want to do that. So I'm updating it, and this might take a few minutes, and this is why it's a good idea to have a fast computer. And once it's done, the title is automatically going to update. And you can see it's still running down here, the query, a lot of names here, 500. But this is going to update automatically. And when it updates here, it's also going to update in Outlook as well. So once we see this update here, I'm going to show you just after this that it updates in Outlook. I want to show just one more update with this too. Now this is good because I save a lot of time with Outlook. And to me, it used to be drudgery to go through each file. Now it tells me I'm about to update 395 rows. So that's also a good sign to me, because if it was telling me that I was going to update every single row, which is 526, I would know there's something wrong. Or if it said 0, or just some sort of strange number. So that's a good number to look at. So it gives you the option to make a determination based on that. So I click yes, and it updates it. So if you go down through here, you can see that a lot of these are updated, and I have much less work to do, because there might be a few names like, I don't know, Darren. I know Darren's somewhat of a common name, but it's not one of the most common names. And some of these names, like, of course, Eddie, Edward is updated. We have Elizabeth, and names like French. I don't know. I think sometimes French could be male or female, so I don't know. So I'd have to find out the gender of that person and update it. So Frank. So a lot of these are updated. Now, if I say, well, hey, there needs to, there are a lot of people named Garrett. Sometimes it's not worth it to add names to it, but then, it's up to you. But I could go in here and I could create a query based on the names that was not covered here. And I could create that query, and then I could say, well, hey, Donna is a common name, so is Doris. And I could add these to my query, and then the next time that I do it, I can update again. Now I'm going to show you what this did in Outlook. Now, when we go back into Outlook, we can see that all the data has been updated. So now we have the Mr. in front of the name, and I don't have to go into each of these and do it. I only have a few of these to do that were not part of the list. which, like I said, I could either add them to the list and then I could run the query again and it'll update all of them, or I could go in there and update each individual one of them. So the same work that it would take to go in there and update each individual name, you could update that query, add more data to it, and then just one click, run the query again, and it's solved. So you don't have to do it again. Then the next time you get more names like that, it's going to automatically update them, and you don't have to worry about it. So what I did was I took the 1,000 most common boy names and the 1,000 most common girl names, and I took out maybe I don't know, 100 names, probably somewhere around there, of names that could be male or female. And so there were a lot of updates here and a lot of time that was saved, and I didn't have to go in there and manually add names to it. Now I have to, well, not really manually, but once I get this data, like extra names added into my database, I can just I can run another query with those names and then just go down and add Mr. and Mrs. I don't have to type in each name one by one. So it still saves you a lot of time rather than what you would do in Outlook. So the next one, I'm going to show you how I can go in here and update. Now I have the department here, so I'm going to show you how to go in here and update another field based on the email address that starts with representative, or some of them start with Senate too. And I'm going to show how to go in there and, based upon that data, and create an office for Senate or representative. That way you can separate those groups. And like if you want to send out an email that just goes to the Senate, you can. If you want to send one to the House of Representatives that goes out to all of them, you can. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you want more videos, and take a look at my videos that I have, the video that I have prior to this one. And thanks a lot for watching.